This is why, again, I'm calling for a travel ban or sanction, a travel sanction, and also rescinding the citizenship of any of these government officials in the President Bio administration by the US government, European Union partners across the world to rescind their citizenship, take it back away from them, and impose a travel ban on the sanction, not only against them, but against their families. Why am I saying this? Let me take you guys to Zambia. I don't want to wait until it gets to that point, but this was what Zambia did before the elections. So, Ambassador Raima, I don't want to wait until the elections. Let us start imposing these now. Let us start putting these in place now. President Biden, let us start putting these measures in place now to impose a travel ban on these people. I think that would help us a lot. So let me share this video of the Zambia, embassy, what they did. This was during the elections, but let me share that with you guys so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
The United States Embassy here in Lusaka has given their first pre-election briefing warning about economic sanctions and lifelong visa bans on any perpetrators of violence, be it political leaders or any cadres. And these bans do not only affect the individual, but their families as well.
Now, U.S. visa sanctions, lifelong travel bans, and financial sanctions can be applied to officials in government and quasi-governmental bodies, security and police forces, political party members, whether from ruling party or opposition, party cadres or leaders of such groups or front groups, business financiers, election managers, and any other figures who participate in or instigate others to violence. Again, it comes back. We want to see free, fair, transparent, and peaceful. We want to support people who promote these principles, and if you don't, these are where the concerns lie. Visa sanctions can be applied not only to officials engaged in inappropriate behavior, but it also can impact their spouses and their children as well.
Other issues raised were issues of cadre violence, scarring the reputation of the country being a...
So, guys, I just want to call again American government, the States Department, Ambassador David Reimer, Ambassador Muller, Miss Lisa Chesney. You guys have a role to play. What we've seen in Africa today is impunity. Impunity. A lot of these guys would leave these continents, leave these beautiful countries where they've seen where true democracy, what the meaning of true democracy is. They will go to Africa, Sierra Leone being one, and they'll go and perpetrate harm against our people. Therefore, we are kindly asking for all the killings that has gone on over the past 4 years of President Bio. We're calling on you guys to impose a travel ban on the government of President Bio and everybody else, up to the point of taking away their citizenships. Because I tell you what, if these guys know that that level of security has been taken away from them, they have nowhere else to run or hide. Believe it or not, this nonsense in Africa will stop. The human rights violations will stop in Sierra Leone. This foolishness will stop. The rigging of elections will stop. The violence will stop. And that is what we're calling on the government of the US and European countries that are listening to this video to impose a travel ban up until rescinding citizenships from these guys in this administration of President Bio currently. This was also done in Uganda. It can be done, guys. It can be done. So let me show you this again. It happened in Uganda.
Anyway, we want to be speaking to the United States Embassy Kampala Public Affairs Officer, Mr. Brian George, who is joining us right about now to take us through the sanctions, because out of some of the reasons that were given was the 2021 polls, the human rights violations that did come through. Thank you very much, Mr. Brian George, for speaking to us on the Morning Breeze. Many are thinking if the reason is about human rights violations out of the last election, the question is, why could it have taken this long? How much thought was given to this decision by the U.S. government to slap sanctions on some of the officers?
Good morning, and thank you for allowing me to join you on the show. The visa sanctions that were announced on Friday were the result of a very deliberative process. We take very seriously the authorities under which the sanctions were announced, and we work to ensure that all available evidence and information concerning the actions of the individuals who were designated under this authority are investigated thoroughly and properly. I think it's important to note that the United States was upfront from the beginning of the election process in Uganda about 2 points. The first point is that the United States does not support any particular political party.
Thank you.
The United States does not support any individual political candidates. The United States made very clear from the outset that we support the democratic process.
Thank you.
And that includes the conduct of free, fair, and transparent elections that represent the will of the Ugandan people.
Thank you.
The second point that we made was that we were going to be paying close attention to the conduct of the elections and that we wouldn't hesitate to impose consequences on individuals who were responsible for undermining the democratic process, violating human rights, or committing violence, whether it be.
Do you guys hear that? So, Ambassador Raima, I'm begging all of you all, the international partners, I'm begging every one of you. Human rights violations. What is democracy? Power of the people, for the people, and by the people. But how can we sit by and allow a few to actually violate the rights of citizens in our country?